this week's headliner topic, and this one is a big one, especially when it comes to rock music. Chevelle just released their new album. It's called I always get it wrong, or I think I'm going to say it wrong. It's called Naratias, and it's not actually. I said in my rock album review on the YouTube channel that it's not actually some epic album name like it, like a Lord of the Rings thing or something. It's actually an acronym for Nothing is Real, and This is a Simulation. So that's what the album is called. It's
very music.
It's their ninth studio record. It's very cool. I listened to it. I did a review on the channel. Fantastic record. Like Dave, you're a Chevelle fan. You know exactly. They do what they do so well. And this album definitely has some really great tracks on it. But the singer of the band, Pete Loeffler, was saying that despite their 9 studio albums, they've been around for 20 years at least. They've sold 6 million units. They said that they've hardly made any money in their career, mostly due to signing bad contracts earlier in their career, major labels, taking the majority of the profits from these kind of bogus record deals. And I kind of found it hard to believe because, these guys have made it, obviously this might be outside of their touring career because obviously they've made some cash on the road, but I found it kind of hard to believe that they didn't make any money, or they still don't. Obviously record deals are a big part of that, but what did you make of this whole situation of them saying they didn't really make any money off their records?
Personally, it's the same old story, really, isn't it? Like it's a band that you expect to be like in the last 20 years, like even in our country, in Canada, and in our network of bands and stuff, we know guys that are playing drums at Madison Square Garden, and then the next night are peeling potatoes at a restaurant down in the Village. That happens all the time. So this band in particular, though, like a band that we're both fans of and have followed for 20 years.
And they're like a big American rock band. Like these guys are
big
not
American rock band. Like these are bands that while we're making music, we're looking at the traction they're getting and where are they going? Who are they playing with? What's, how many records are they selling? Like those are things that we're watching all the time. And it was, it's shocking, man. But, I think it's more apparent now than ever that, being with a major label and having those resources at your disposal sometimes gets you in deeper than you thought you would be. And let's be honest, like we know what happened here. You get an advance to make a record. They give you a couple $100,000. You split it up between the guys. You pay for some recording time. You buy some new gear. That money goes away, but that money's all recoupable. So you're paying that back. You're not seeing any album sale money until that's all paid back. Same with tour support. To be a band at that level and be on the road and be playing festival after festival around the world, you don't just jump into that role. You have to be molded into that situation in your career. So when you're doing that, you need a lot of financial backing, and the record label's a bank. That's all they're doing. They're banking you with the hopes that their investment will pay off bigger for them than it does for you, really, because you're a dime a dozen. And if it doesn't work with you, it'll probably work with somebody else. So, they view it as you're lucky we're giving you, we're opening our pockets for you. And bands see it as it's a payday, but it's really not, because you have to pay back the money anyways. So you sign a 5-record deal where you're getting $100,000 a record to do it. And by the 3rd record, you realize you should be getting $3 million a record to do it. But you're not turning over enough records for them to think that's just to give you that next advance at that level. Yeah. I get it, man. Like it's surprising because it's a band that we both love and respect and would look up to as like, wow, that's a great live rock band. But in the world of music, but that being said, they haven't not made money. They're a touring act. They're one of the biggest hard rock acts of the last 20 years, really. So, they do get to make that live revenue. They do make merchandise revenue, but you better believe that the labels have a hand in all of it, especially any contracts in the last 10, 15 years. They're not getting everything, but you make your sacrifices. You sign the deal with the devil. Who knows what's going to happen, man? Yeah. You'd end up selling 60 million or 6 million records and not seeing a penny. Who knows?
No, it's true. And well, the fact that they've been able to make 9 records is a pretty cool feat. You know, the fact that they've managed to sustain their career. I don't know whether they, you know, in terms of their trajectory as a band, I know they kind of hit it big in the early 2000s with the Wonder What's Next album. That was their big, you know, with the Red and Send the Pain Below and those tracks. And you know, they've still maintained their active rock radio status over the years. You know, I remember, you know, being on the air and doing, you know, and hearing, you know, Take Out the Gunman and Hats Off to the Bull and songs like that on the air. So it's, you know, they still have a presence and they're still able to make records. I think that their deal might be coming to an end, so they might be able to take some more control of that situation. But
I heard that too. I heard that too, that they're probably going to do their own thing. So that's good for them, you know, that they finally, you know, can, you know, put out some vinyls and you know, do it.
Yeah. And well, you know, now they're going into a, you know, what I guess would be their 3rd decade or maybe their 4th decade as a band. I'm not sure if they started in the late 90s or if it was mostly in the 2000s, but their new record is cool. You know, and as far as, you know, active rock goes with big riffs and big drums and the things that we enjoy, it's a great record. And so I think, you know, they have a good career ahead of them, and hopefully they can, like we're saying with any of these other bands or with any band in general, artists, you know, trying to carve out that piece of the audience that can sustain you. And it's not necessarily about, you know, always having things you hope things go on an upward trajectory, but you know, as long as you have your fan base and they keep coming back for more, and provided they can get back on the road eventually, that would be nice as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think, you know, and something's to be said about how many artists are in this position, you know, and how important it is when bands come to your city to, you know, go see the band, buy a t-shirt and stuff, because, you know, we talk about it all the time, man. Like we get to see how the sausage is made all the time. And sometimes when you're in Oz, you don't want to look behind the curtain.
Yeah,
because it's an old fat guy that's pulling some levers.
Yeah.
And in most of the topics today, it's just some old guy pulling some levers. So or pushing some buttons. So it's one of those things, man. Sometimes you don't want to see, you know, because like it's weird too, because like, you know, guys that are on the top, you know, top 1% of bands in this country, in our country, that still sleep on their sister's couch when they come home, or, you know, and drive a broken down car, and you'd be like, there's no that guy from that band. Like, you would never imagine in your life. But that's so,
it's not
you know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. It always blows my mind when you know, you don't know what anyone's situation is until they tell you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's surprising. It's disappointing. Like, obviously the industry got another one, but like you said, they're still young guys. Like, I think they're not even 40 yet. Like, they're still, you know, in the prime of writing. Like, hell, if the Stones are going to their 80s, they could have a whole other career ahead of them. Like, realistically, if they take control, probably not if they don't make money off any of the records in their contract. But if they take control of their shit and they do the grind, and you know, they have great leverage right now. They're coming out of 20 years of major label backing and major label radio support. So you know their songs are going to get an extra look when they go to radio. You know that publicists are going to give them an extra look because they probably already written about them. So they're in a good position. And hopefully they keep going, because I'd like to hear more music.
And that is it for our headliner this week, talking about Chevelle and them not making any money off of their record deals. We hope they make more money in the future. Go for it, guys. Many happy